श्रीमान् वेङ्कटनाथार्यः कवितार्किककेसरी वेदान्ताचार्यवर्यो मे सन्निधत्तां सदा हृदि. Happy New Year to all of you. Let's get started. Now, before going into the rest of the verses, let's try to take a pause and review what we have learned so far. This will be a recap of all chapters that we have learned so far, chapters 1, 2, and 3. It's a quick review, so let's start with that. Chapter 1 started off with Pandavas and Duryodhanas facing each other in the Kurukshetra battlefield. Arjuna asked Krishna to ride the chariot in front of both the armies so that he can take a better look at the people who are standing in the military formation. When he glanced, he got this strange feeling. He had an insight into what is going to happen in the future. He saw the future right in front of him. So many people are going to die. He was not worried about the magnitude of his opponents, the strength of his opponents. He was not scared, but rather he was worried that all these great men, warriors, are going to perish in this battle, which is absolutely unfortunate as far as he was concerned. And he told Krishna about how he felt about the whole thing. He expressed concerns about abandoned duties by the families of these warriors. What will happen if these great men die in this battlefield? Families who are dependent on these men are not going to follow the social norms, perform the regular duties that they are supposed to perform, or they are not going to engage themselves in any dharmic activities. And so this was not acceptable to him. Arjuna was not okay for all these men to die and abandon all their duties, because that would result in a situation where there will be a total social chaos, which Arjuna doesn't want to happen. And so he expressed concerns to Krishna, saying that they are not going to perform any ancestral rites and all the good things that they have been doing in terms of imparting education to others, or in terms of dharmic actions like donations or charities. All those will take a beating. And so I am totally perturbed, mentally perturbed. I'm not going to engage myself in this war. Let me not participate in this. Saying so, he just laid down the arms and he occupied his seat, deciding, making himself absolutely clear to Krishna that I am not going to fight in this war. Now Krishna, on seeing Arjuna losing his motivation, Krishna initially asked Arjuna that this is not the way that warriors should do. Just stand up and engage in the war. But Arjuna strictly told his inability in the second lesson. In the beginning of the second chapter, he expressed his inability to stay calm, and he in fact expressed that how much physically he was feeling the heat all over his body. His lips dried up, throat parched, eyes reddened, and his hands were not able to hold the Gandiva, which was not desirable, because that is not a thing that a warrior should at any point of time experience. And so Arjuna, in the beginning of the second chapter, expressed his inability and asked Krishna to help him. Be my guru, be my teacher, and advise me what is the right thing for me to do. I'm willing to do anything that you ask me to do, but I do not know at this time what I should be doing, because I think I am not myself. I lost control of my body and my mind, and so please advise me, is what Arjuna asked Krishna. Now that is when Krishna started his the teachings. Krishna initially started off with he told one of the shlokas, asocyan anvaso chastvam prajnavadamscha bhashase gatasun agatasumscha nanushochanti panditaha. Learned men do not think about this material body. They are worried. They know the difference between the body and Atman. And so Arjuna, you are wasting your energy, your efforts towards a thing that doesn't need any importance at all. And so he went on to describe the differences between body and Atman. He said that body is one, that this Atman takes from birth to birth. Just like how we change clothes, this Atman takes its body from one birth to other birth to other birth to other birth. There was never a time in history where you were not there, I was not there, and these people were not there. There is going to be no time in future where you will not be there, I won't be there, or they won't be there. That means that Atman is ever existing. Your Atman or my Atman doesn't matter. And this body is just not you. Understand the difference, Arjuna. And so Krishna stressed that difference, and he also spoke about the significance of Atman. And Atman cannot be dried, it cannot be burnt, it cannot be destroyed by any weapons. No weapons exist that can destroy this Atman. And so that Atman is timeless, ageless, formless. There is no need for you to worry at all, because even if you are going to kill the enemies, you are just killing the bodies. The Atman is not going to die when they die. When we all die, it is only the question of bodies falling down to this earth. Atman always exists. And he spoke about that, and then he went on to describe about the um, yoga that one has to observe. He mentioned about how he Arjuna has to, because of all these reasons, the difference between Atman and soul exists. At least if you are not appreciating that, you got your own responsibility. As a warrior, you have your responsibility, and everyone in this world has got their own responsibilities, duties to fulfill. At least for that, you will have to rise up, and you will have to do your duties. You cannot abstain from it. And so he went on to talk about two yogas: the Buddhi Yoga, the one that is performed with analytical mind, the one that needs to be performed using analysis. Sankhya Yoga is the name of that he called, and in fact that chapter 2 itself is called Sankhya Yoga, which is nothing but analytical yoga. And again he went on to describe about the importance of doing actions. Sankhya Yoga is one that is performed using buddhi, where you use your intelligence to hold your indriyas intact and focus your mind internally and do the jnana yoga or analytic analysis. But that is not for everyone, because that is not easy for everyone. There are very few who are blessed with the ability to follow the jnana yoga. But for rest all, karma yoga is the best. And so he advised about the karma yoga, where he spoke about all people, including you, Arjuna, should definitely engage in the yoga of actions. Never ever abstain yourself from any actions, because by materialistic nature with which this body is created, you, even if you wanted to abstain, even if you wanted to stay away, not doing any actions, you cannot say that I'm just fed up with this world, I don't want to do any actions. Still you'll have to eat, still you'll have to drink water, still you'll have to do basic necessities, basic work that is needed to carry this material body in this journey of life. So you cannot escape actions, and that is the reason that you will have to follow the path of karma yoga. Karma yoga is easy, much easier than jnana yoga. Jnana yoga, you need to isolate yourself, and the practices are very hard. The possibilities of you slipping away from jnana yoga is very high, and so it is not for all. For people who are in the path of grahastha ashrama, or even other ashramas also, unless you are in the path of a yogi, where who wanted to go to the Himalayas and perform deep jnana yoga, which you are not, because your action is needed right here in this battlefield. You should follow the path of karma yoga, and by that, by observing the karma yoga, you can also equally get to the level or attain the level this soul has to attain. With the Karma Yoga also, these are two different paths. One path, Jnana Yoga, is for one group of people, but the majority of the people will be following the path of the Karma Yoga. And in fact, he had given examples. Krishna had given examples about how the king Janaka himself followed the path of Karma Yoga and attained moksha. And so, with that, he ended the second chapter, and in fact, he went on to the third chapter describing about how one has to perform the action itself. In the second chapter itself, he mentioned that where it is not just enough you follow the path of Karma Yoga. The essence of Karma Yoga is to not attach yourself to any fruits thereof. By just hankering ourselves, looking for benefits that will please the indriyas, we are not really doing the Karma Yoga. When you do an action, do it as a yajna. And yajna is an offering to God unto himself. By performing an action, you are doing a yajna. And the results of that yajna should also be offered to me. That means to offer to Lord himself, instead of just taking part in that. Of course, whatever that is leftovers of that action, you can of course enjoy. Leftovers would mean that if you are performing an action and the result is that one way of that fruit is that to associate the ownership of it. I have done it and this is because of me. That is the fruit that he says, do not associate yourself with that fruit. If that results in helping you live a life peacefully, happily, go with it. That is of course the remnants of your action. And so he also said that whenever you are preparing food, offer to me and then have that food so as to make sure that I cleanse whatever that you eat. If you are not offering to me, if you are eating it, then you are eating only the sins. Remember that, and then offer to me and eat, is one of the points that he had mentioned. And also he said that the responsible ones, the people who are in the path of who are in position where others look up to them, follow their steps, should make sure that they do their actions without any negligence. Because if they say that I don't want to do any actions, I just wanted to follow the path of Jnana Yoga, then rest all people who are followers will also go behind such responsible people, and thereby it will create a chaos. And so do not encourage people who are in a responsible position to do any such actions. They also should be performing the Karma Yoga. King Janaka in fact engaged in the Karma Yoga so that he can carry rest of the people along with him. That is an example that everyone else who is, even though they can do the Jnana Yoga, they should also engage in the Karma Yoga so that others can benefit from that person. And then Arjuna asks Lastly, in spite of all these things, why do people commit sins? What makes them unwillingly, forcibly they perform actions which, even though they know very well that it is they are not supposed to do it, they don't want to do it, but still they end up doing it? What makes it happen? What is the cause behind that? Then Krishna identifies that, and he tells Arjuna that desire is the only reason that prompts, that drives a person in performing actions that are not in line with what he was actually thinking. Now, that desire, again, Krishna mentioned even in the previous verses also, to some extent, as to that desire springs. Where does that spring from? Those desires spring from our engagement of this body and these organs with the external world. You cannot escape that. As we are living in this world, we will see few things, we will hear few things, we will handle few things, we will eat some things, and that creates a bondage. Such a bondage slowly starts building a uh, influencing the influences the mind, and then the mind starts attaching towards objects of attraction, and they go behind, the indriyas go behind those objects that are trying to attract these indriyas, and then they are lost. Once a human goes behind objects of interest in the outside world without focusing their attention inward as to what is happening inward, then mind is already occupied by the indriyas. And when mind is occupied by the indriyas, the intellect also goes with it. And end of everything, that person goes behind how he or she can enjoy or get pleasures than thinking about how we can evolve as a human. So these are few of the highlights that we had seen. uh, Overall, the idea is for any person, it's not just Arjuna. Each one of us is like Arjuna, right? The idea behind that is we have to evolve, we have to better ourselves every day. That is the idea of Bhagavad Gita overall. And then how does that evolution happens, right? What does that evolution means? How can we evolve? It is not uh, it is not about becoming. I'm now a person and I become another person. It is not becoming. So becoming is a big issue. It's a big misunderstanding. If you look at the YouTube videos, or if you look around for um, personality development or improvement, whatever that is, those are all texts and videos about how you transform yourself. So here there is no transformation from A to B or B to C. We are not becoming from one to the other to the other, because any state we are in right now, and we think that, okay, so from starting from tomorrow I will become that person, or starting from tomorrow I will work towards this, I will do this, I will do that, and I will become that, right? That is how we all will do, we'll think. And I will, starting from today, I will start listening to Bhagavad Gita, or I will understand the meanings of Bhagavad Gita, and then I will become that. So that idea in itself is flawed, because we cannot become anything. When we are becoming anything, that after we become that, that state is also not right. Because if this state, whatever that we are right now is in, is not correct, then whatever we become is also not the last state. From there we wanted to become one more thing, and one more and one more. So we keep hopping around different states. That is not the idea of spirituality. Spirituality is about not transforming from one state to other, to other, to other, but to stay in this state and unveil ourselves, or to reveal us to ourselves. We already are in that rightful state, but few impurities got stuck to us, and our responsibility is to remove those impurities. It is not that we are becoming anything different. So to better explain that, let's say that we have a most precious stone, something like a ruby or whatever that is, right? We got a big huge stone, and in that stone a lot of dust gathered, or it just um, fell in some marshy dust, let's say. Now when you look at it, you do not see that ruby inside that dust ball. All we see is just a dust ball. Now I cannot, if I go and then say that I want to make this dust ball look very good, I'm going to apply some decorations to it. Then that is not getting the ruby out, right? That is just transforming that dust ball into another new thing. And that is also not good. Let me put some wrapper around it so that it looks good. We can put it, it may look good, the dust is not showing out anymore, but that is not ruby still, right? That is how we have been, we should understand our becoming and being. Being is the one that we are already that ruby is already that ruby. There is no need to do anything new like wrapping around, putting a wrapper around it or any such thing. All we need to do is take that ball and wash that dust off, then the ruby will show itself already, right? All we need to do is wash that dust away. That is what precisely one evolution means. We are evolving means that where we are becoming aware of our impurities, and then identifying every day, spotting it and removing them one by one. That is the essence of evolving. By doing that, then slowly we start seeing our own true nature, and we will start loving ourselves, right? Liking ourselves. When do you think that we will start liking ourselves, loving ourselves? Just think about it. Because people who are truly enlightened, the one of their true characteristics is they love themselves. The reason is it's not egoistic or any such thing. Egoistic people also love themselves. That love is totally different. If anything didn't go well, they will be mad at themselves. That will also happen potentially, right? But these people they will love themselves for no reason at all. That is the beauty. For no reason at all, we should be loving, we should be liking ourselves, right? And again, this new, since it is new year, I'm going to just not go into it, but bring up few things so that we can actually think about it. Happiness, prosperity. You would have got definitely a lot of new year messages, right? Wish you a happy and a prosperous new year. We just blindly text this without knowing what that means to us, and we receive that, and then we receive it and then say, oh, she sent, he sent, okay, it's a check mark. There is no meaning to it. What is that happy, what is that prosperity means, right? Happiness, if you look at it, what is happiness? When you think about it, when you we want to be happiness is like you go and do a thing. For example, it can be for few people going to party means happiness, or dancing in a party is happiness, or music is happiness, singing is happiness, listening to music or just watching some movies is happiness, or going on a vacation or for 3 days is happiness, or having a um, buying a car is happiness. If you look at it, everything, an action is involved in that, right? You are doing an action, and happiness is what we define, right? And what happens to that happiness, just think about it. And as long as you're engaged in that action, that happiness is there. Or maybe after that for 2 3 hours, let's say you go to a party. Before going to the party, you're anxious, happy, we're going to meet so many people, we're going to enjoy in the party, eat, drink, just, you know, be yourself, and then make the best out of it. Then you're back, and then after that, it's all good. I'm not saying anything, but if you observe yourself, if you have attended parties, you know what I mean, right? You angst that 2 3 hours before that, you have some excitement about it, and then you go through it, you enjoy there the delicious food, anything, everything that is there, meet hundreds of people there, and then you discuss about everything, anything, and then you return back, right? Next day, one more, after 2 3 days, you don't even remember that party. Even after few hours after the party is over, we don't remember that. Now what happens to us, you just think about it. What happens to us is, before the we attended that party, you are in a mental state, let's say, no happiness or no misery, also no depression, also you are in a state of okayness, right? And then once that excitement started, you went up, that excitement went up, and then happiness went up there in the middle of, after some time it slowly starts waning away, again we return back to that okayness, right? That okayness is us. That is the true nature of us. That is the rightful state. This artificially going up, we are trying to make ourselves happy. We are trying to raise ourselves. That is our nature. We always don't want to stay there. We wanted to raise ourselves up with the hope that we can stay there. But unfortunately, that is not how nature works. That is not how happiness works. That is not true happiness. That is why it doesn't work. That is just some kind of a pleasure. That is not a happiness. Happiness is one that always stays with us. Whatever that we experience in parties, or whatever that we experience, that is not happiness. The word is different. That is just a pleasure. Pleasure is a thing that is temporary. You just go in an excited mindset for a while, for a second or a minutes or hours, and then we get back to normal. That is the happiness, right? If we understand that happiness, then we will not look for, I wanted happiness in my life, because that will never happen. Life will be up, it will go up, and then again will come back. Any event that will happen, it will be up and then back, up and then back. And if you look at it in our entire lifespan, up will be few hours, okay state will be longer time. You will stay in the okay state for days, and then probably one day some good thing will happen, maybe 2 3 hours we will go in that up state, where, but we are hankering for that up states. We are just looking where that will happen, when that will happen, and we are living our life every day with the thinking that the temporary thing will go up, and then all that is good, the temporary thing will all let it happen, the happiness, events, all good things, let it happen on this auspicious day. I also wish and I also look forward to that events, but events that happen should not disturb our equilibrium. what we are, the okay state is the equilibrium state. We are, those who are blessed will be in the equilibrium state. They will not go up, they will not go down. Imagine that if anything goes bad, then we will go down, not that up. And that down also, if anything sad or bad happens, let's say we go drive and then we get a ticket and we have been asked to pay $1,000. So unfortunate, oh no. One thing is I'm getting an entry in my license and then I'll have to end up paying $1,000. No, so unfortunate. We feel upset, but then that upset after 4 or 5 days or a week goes off. That is equally true with your happiness also. But the okay state is neither anything happened down nor anything up happened, and you stay in that state, right? Where nothing is happening. That is our true state. And in that state, we will not be there. Unfortunately, we won't be there. We will just start thinking about it. How can I be okay? Let me think about a thing that will make me down. That is what is depression is. People who are going to the depressed state is, they are in the okay state, but they think that they should not be in the okay state. They start doing a laundry list in their mind as to what can I now start worrying about. Now they start, this is okay, that is okay. You pick up something, oh no, that is not correct. Oh, tomorrow I have something unwanted thing going to happen. I will have to worry about that. So we choose to worry about it. That okay state is the best state. We'll have to be there. When it happens, we can go up or down. But why unnecessarily disturb our equilibrium? Equilibrium state is the state where right now we all are in. You are listening, you are in okay state, because if you are down, you won't be listening, you won't be in this listening to this now. If you are up, again you won't be listening to this because your mind is excited. You are listening to this and I am speaking, we all are in the perfect equilibrium state. This is what we'll have to maintain. And if we think that I wanted to do this so that I can become happy, then that is not correct. I wanted to do actions so that dot dot dot. Anything it can be, it is not correct. I wanted to do actions because I wanted to do that action. That is the only right decision. I wanted to do this because that is the right thing to do, not because that will make me happy or not because I will get something. That is the correct way of that Krishna is now asking us to do. If we do actions for the sake of actions, not for deriving anything, then we are in the perfect equilibrium mindset. We are not letting any event bother us to shift our equilibrium. Because when you pour, let's say when you take a ball and then just drop it and observe the ball, what happens? The ball bounces on earth, right? And then it just, first the bounce will be higher and then lesser, and then it just goes into a corner of a room, and then it doesn't move at all, right? It was just bouncing up and down, but it reached its equilibrium. That is called equilibrium. That is the principle of equilibrium. No body can always be oscillating. It will reach its equilibrium. Now that is true even with another example is heat water. It reaches its boiling point, 100 degrees. Now just let it cool. Let it be there as is. What happens? The temperature of the water reaches the room temperature. Right? That is equilibrium. It will reduce its heat and it will reach the equilibrium. So no matter whatever our mind is excited about, for anything at all, it will ultimately reach the equilibrium okay state only. It will not, you can look back, you can say that, yeah, that good thing happened, this happy thing happened, that is good. But right now, it will always reach the equilibrium. Just like how a ball bounces and reaches a steady state. Steady state of our mind will always be this okay state. And even when it goes down, when it goes up, doesn't matter. And we should strive for that okayness only. And that is why whatever, whoever we are, whatever we are, right now, we are all good. Nothing needs to be done to do anything. All we need to do is we have to observe where we are not becoming okay. That is the only state we have to monitor. We are all okay now. The moment anyone yells at us, then we are not becoming okay. So it is not the other person who has to be mistaken, but we have to observe ourselves and see, why am I becoming not okay? Because that person didn't ask me to be, to right now do not be okay. He didn't say anything, he didn't do anything to me. He just spoke, or she just spoke, and I am becoming not okay on my own accord. So I have the control. I can maintain that okay state no matter whatever, whoever says any word or does any actions against me. I can still maintain that okay state. Right? That okay state is the blissful state. If we can ever maintain that without thinking about anything, this or this, and with that, doing actions, that okay state, if we are able to perform actions, still maintaining that balance, normal equilibrium, then that is, those people are the most superior. As far as Krishna is concerned, he says that people who can do actions but still not mentally get disturbed are the superior. Now, what type of actions? Again, actions are any actions. You can be talking, you can be listening, you can be driving, you can be walking, you can be jogging, you can be doing anything. Any action is an action, but as long as that action, we are not letting that action affect us. Fruits can also be just negative fruits. For example, I did an action, it didn't uh, result in what I expected, so now I am down. That is also not correct. I did an action that resulted in positive, just because I did it. Again, that is also not desired. So both ways we are affecting our equilibrium, in positive way or in a negative way. Both are to be avoided. If we do that, then we can be really truly happy. That is a true happy. Okay state or normal state is a true happy state. Now we'll take New Year resolutions. Right? We wanted to do this. We wanted to. Nobody is arguing against it. We should, in fact, we should take New Year resolutions. Not necessarily New Year resolutions. Every time we have to resolve ourselves to do things that will improve us. Where we cannot be in one state. Improve again is removing our own the deficiencies or limitations is improving. If few things that I am scared of that I didn't do last year, this year I will have to see those fears in my mind are really reasonable fears, or is it anything that I can remove those fears and try doing few things this year, so I conquer the fears in my mind. Few things I hated. Is there any reason that I should still hate this year? So I'm improving. My limitations, I'm facing my own limitations. And I wanted to reinvent myself. That is improving. That is New Year resolutions. New Year resolution should be that, where inner evolution. Internally, whatever that we hesitated last year. This year, I wanted to minimize the hesitation. I wanted to adventure and then see what happens. Experimenting with oneself. If I do this, what happens? So that is refreshing. That will help the person evolve much better, right? Than simply having that, okay, I want to do this. I want, for example, people take up these habits. I wanted to take up a new habit and I wanted to bring this into force starting this year. That habit can be something like weight loss. I wanted to go to gym. Workout is such a famous New Year resolution and such a notorious also to be broken more often by more people, right? The reason is workout is an, let's say, losing weight by doing workout. It's not, there is nothing wrong in that, but whenever we do take a habit, one thing we have to understand is you wanted to bring that into as part of it, our habit, right, in our life. But we have been having many habits, old habits, that is remaining as is, but I want to bring in a new habit. That won't work unless we are aware of our old habits. What are the things that I am doing right now? Are this, am I doing the right way? And then where can I fit in? Once we know about our old habits, then I know that, okay, these are things I'm doing, these are the things I'm doing, these are things I'm aware of. These habits doesn't mean that just physical habits, even emotional, mental habits, more importantly. Every time whenever I anyone calls, I get on a call, and then I start identifying, criticizing them, let's say, if that is my habit. No, 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 what you're saying is not correct. What I'm saying is correct. If I am used to that, I should know about the limitation, my habit. Only if I know that, then I can bring in a different habit. So, for example, I wanted to, every time anyone speaks to me, I wanted to use, um, let's say, I wanted to make them happy at the end of the call. That is my resolution. I'm having a New Year resolution which says that whenever I speak to anyone over a call, after we say bye, the other person should feel highly happy, at least, peaceful. So that is my New Year resolution. For that, I should be aware of my limitation, which is I am a person who every time anyone speaks, criticize their ideas or points. If I am not aware of it, then I cannot end up achieving that objective, right? Achieve meeting that resolution. That is what I mean by knowing our own old habits that are not going away from us, and trying to bring in a new habit will not work. That is why it is all abandoned habits, abandoned resolutions, because we are not knowing ourselves better before bringing in a new habit or a new resolution. So inspecting every day would mean that to take just 10 minutes to see how the day went on today. Morning, what time did I wake up, who all I met, what I did, what I spoke, what thoughts I entertained in my mind. Writing it down will definitely give 1 week. If you just run through it, we know that, oh, such bad thoughts are running in my mind, harmful thoughts are running in my mind. That is definitely not correct, because few people will don't want to hurt others. They are good, nice people. They will think that I don't want to hurt them with any words, I don't want to do any wrong thing, but they will keep hurting themselves. It's unfair, right? If you don't want to hurt others, you should also not hurt yourself, because your atman is also like their atman. When you don't want to hurt other atmans, souls, your soul is also equally important. It's unfair to be unfair to us, right? So how will be able to do it? Only by being aware of our own limitations and the way that we talk to ourselves, the message, the story that we give ourselves. And for that, I would recommend that At times when your mind is giving some ideas, talk it out loud. If you are, if you are at home, of course we cannot do it outside or at work, but at home, if no one is around, just see what your mind is trying to say. Then we will know, oh, this kind of, that thought is not correct. We will swerve, we will go away from that thought. Thoughts, end of the day, are the ones that make up a person or break a person, right? Thoughts, so one of the good new year resolution, if you are thinking, if you are looking for anything, is to audit thoughts that come to your mind. Auditing means to inspect them. This thought, oh, this thought comes to my mind, oh, that is not correct, appropriate. Or how about this thought? Let me think about it. This is a good thought. Let me explore it more, to think about it. Thoughts are building blocks. The more we can sit and think, we become better person. Sit and think, but sit and think and go into depression is not correct. To sit and think creatively. So thinking is also a little bit of intelligence is needed. To think about problems is not correct. Think about problems, how to resolve it. What can I do? How can I resolve it? That is correct. Oh, I have problems. That is an entirely different level of thinking. That is not the one that I'm talking about. That means we are helpless, right? But everyone can solve problems. How to solve is what we have to think. For that, inspection is needed. And then to think, for example, if there is a problem, how we think also matters, how to resolve it. One way to most people do is, oh, there is a problem. I don't know there is a problem. I don't know how to solve it. I don't know. There is a problem, there is a problem. That is all they can think. Beyond that, they cannot think. But what is that problem? Break up the problem and then go in each and every one of it and see what I can do right now to resolve this problem. That is the right approach. Where we will, once we are able to resolve one problem, let's say, you're having hundreds of problems. Let's say we take one problem and we focus our total attention, our power, inner energy onto that, and we are able to break the problem and resolve it. That gives us a strong strength, inner strength, that boosts our energy. Oh, if I can solve this problem, then I can solve the next problem. Then we will go to the next, and so on. And the more problems we solve in life of our own, then we evolve. Then we get a better version of ourselves. We are improving life. The more we start worrying about the problems that we have, the laundry list of problems that we have, the more depressed we will go down. Right? So we action oriented. That is why action is needed. That is, the Karma Yoga is all about actions. First thing he says is, do not stay away from actions. People who worry about problems stay away from action. And that is not Karma Yoga. That is anti-Karma Yoga, where we are going opposite to Karma Yoga, which will definitely lead to worries and depressions. But instead, knowing about the problem and going behind it and observing how we think. Oh, looks like I resolved it intelligently. I used this technique, and it worked. And second problem, we will use all those techniques again. And the more we use our mind to resolve problems, the better we are. Our own problems, we fix it, the better we are. And then we will start identifying, when I'm thinking about this problem, I had a little bit of jealousy. That was really not the right thing. That was hurting. That was preventing me from resolving this problem. So let me take out that jealous part. Or when I was trying to resolve this problem, anger intruded, and that didn't allow me to resolve it smoothly. So let me remove that anger next time and try it. So you see that You cannot, if you just sit around and say that I want to get rid of all my negativities, it will not go away. Only by engaging in actions, we will observe our negativities. By observing our negativities, we will work on it. Because it is not, we are working to improve ourselves. That should be the only goal. We are doing actions to improve ourselves. That should be the only goal. Then we can be a better person. These actions can be anywhere, at home, with kids, with yourself, with at work, with employees, with employers, with anyone around the world. Whatever actions that we do, we engage, we interact, we are doing action. There we can see ourselves in action. And when you see yourself in action, you see your personality, and there you see your weaknesses, your strengths, and that observing that is the karma yoga. Observing our own strengths and weaknesses as we do those actions, and strengths we strengthen it more, weaknesses we will slowly remove, so that that helps us to perform the actions much better in this world, so that we leave this place called earth a better place than how we found. That is the objective of our birth, right? Okay, with that we come to the end of this session today. I just wanted to go over the previous uh, chapters, and then to bring to your attention that what we have learned so far, and most importantly in terms of karma yoga, what we have learned and the importance of the karma yoga, because that is the practical yoga. What, because we all are involved in actions, we wanted us to get some kind of an overview of what we have learned, so that that will help us learn more verses, more meanings in future. I'll see you all next week. श्रियः कान्ताय कल्याणनिधये निधयेत्थिनां श्रीवेङ्कटनिवासाय श्रीनिवासाय मङ्गलम्. सर्वं श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु.